Hello everyone. I guess I'm audible to everyone, right? And my video is visible. So, yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Archita Jain. We have already covered with you guys the first session, which I think you should have seen till now. If you haven't, after the session, just have a look at it. It will just clear your fundamentals regarding Java and what JVM, JRE, and everything is about. So, in this session, we're going to be starting with fundamentals of Java. So, let me present my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone, right? So we're going to be studying in this presentation. We're going to be studying about Java fundamentals. So let me give you a quick warning, or you can say a heads up that before we are starting this session, let me give you all a quick warning. As we'll dive right in, there will be no coming back. You'll wish to learn more and in deep about Java fundamentals, but I can make sure people that if you'll stay connected with all of us at till the end, you will definitely feel confident in all the topics that I'm going to be covering today. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the topics that we're going to be covering in this unit are, firstly, I'm covering the second unit of the prescribed syllabus of our the university syllabus. So the topics that we're going to be covering in this are the fundamentals of Java, classes and objects, exceptional handling, and fourth, that is the very important, is the applet. First is the fundamentals of Java. So there are basically three things that it is included in fundamentals of Java. First is the Java tokens, the data types in Java, and the operators in Java. So what are tokens? Tokens, we can, as in biology terms, we say that cell is the basic unit of life, basis of everything. In Java, tokens are the basic or the most fundamental things of a Java or a program in any language you say. So tokens are divided in many categories. It can be keywords, special characters, literals, operators, and identifiers. Slowly and gradually, we're going to be learning about all these things that I have talked about right now. Keywords. Keywords, we can say, are the special or the reserved characters that are used in any languages, like double, int, break, class. They have a special meaning and we cannot use them in any other form. Special symbols, these are the special symbols like hashtag, question mark, and the dollar sign. Literals are the constant values, like any constant value, for example, the pi, 14.8, 14.4, 2.14, and any of the values. Operators. Operators are the one like plus, minus, division, subtraction, and all these are the operators which we're going to be studying later on in this unit. Identifiers, as the name suggests, are the one that are used to identify something. Like we just declare a variable of like int n is equal to 10. So that 10 or that n is the identifier. Here, some age, anything that you define is the identifier. Next slide is we're going to be talking about data types. What are data types? You have learned about data types in any of the language. Let's see, let it be C, C++. The main syntax, that is int n is equal to 10. There int. What is int? Int is a data type. There are majorly two types of data types. First is the primitive and second is the non-primitive. Primitive can be further divided into two things. First is the numeric and second is the non-numeric. The name suggesting us numeric is the one that includes numbers. Numbers are of two types, right? First is the integer that does not contain any decimal value, and second is the floating point that does contain floating values. In integer, it's byte, short, int, long, which have different types of storage in them, and floating point contains double and float. Second comes the non-numeric. Non-numeric is character and boolean. Character is A, B, C, capital A, capital B. These are the characters. And boolean is true and false, right? Now comes the non-primitive. There is a second name for non-primitive, that is the user-defined data types. First is the string, array, and user-defined classes, which we're going to be studying in the later in this PPT. Conversion. So, talking about conversion, when you want to convert one data type to another, we have two methods. First is the widening, and second is the narrowing. Widening basically means is you can, as the term suggests, that widening is the one in which we are going from smaller data type to a larger data type. Like as you can see in this graph or in this figure, that we are going from byte to a larger, and at the end there is double. So we also say that it is the widening conversion, and narrowing is the one in which we go from a larger data type to a smaller data type. Also, I want to mention that the widening one is also known as the implicit conversion, and narrowing is known as the explicit conversion. In implicit, we don't have to do it, the computer in which you are running the program that does it itself. And in explicit, we have to do it. That is, we have to write a command to do the explicit type conversion. Now comes the operators in Java. We have already talked about some bit about operators, what operators are. Like I told you about the addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and any of. There are many types of Java operators, like the unary, arithmetic, relational, logical, bitwise, shift, and assignment, and many other operators are there. So first one is the unary operator. I'm gonna go through this tabular format in which every operator has been given to you. First one is the unary operator. Unary operator is of two types: postfix and prefix. Postfix is the one when we add the operator after the variable, and prefix is the one when we add when we add the operator before the variable. Arithmetic, you all must know about arithmetic, that is the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all of this. Third is the shift operator. Shift operator, there are basically two types of shift operator, that is the left shift operator and the right shift operator. Fourth is the relational. Relational is when we have to compare something, when we have to compare two variable, two string, or any of the things that we have to compare, we use relational operator. First is the comparison, and second is the equality. Comparison, like if we have to do greater than, equal to, less than. And second is the equality, when we have to do a particular thing is equal to the other thing or it is not equal to the other thing. Then is the bitwise one. Bitwise is the one, as you all know what bits are. Bits is 0 and 1. So in bitwise, we compare two bits, like bitwise and, when we do the bitwise and of two bit numbers, bitwise exclusive or and bitwise inclusive or. These are all that. Logical operator are also used in Java and in many other programs, in which these are of three types: logical and, logical or. Ternary operator is the one when we are defining a condition that if this is happening, then if one condition is true, then either the first thing will happen or the second thing will happen. And the assignment is like I have been talking about the same example from the previous slides, that int n is equal to 10 is equal to is the assignment operator when we are just giving the variable the value that is 10. Now, talking about Java statements, there are many types of Java statements that you all must be aware about, and some of these are those that you are not aware about. First one is the conditional one. Conditional one, as I have already told you about, that if something is true, then first statement will run, else something else will run. So these are the types of if statements, and switch is the one when there are many to just minimize your code, we use the switch statement. That is so that I do not need to write the if else statement again and again. We use switch statement when a particular variable has been given to you and we have to compare that variable on many values, and according to that we have to give the result. Second is the loop or the iterative statement. In this we have for loop, while loop, do while loop, and for each loop. For each loop is kind of different, so I'm going to be covering it in the next slide. And flow control or the jump statements are return, continue, and break. Firstly is the for each statement. It is very much important with respect to, like, it can come in a 2-pointer in your exams. For each is as the name suggests, that for each basically means that it cannot skip any value. Like if you are traversing any array, in this example, if you're traversing this array with the with this I is the iterator, we are traversing this array, so we cannot skip any value of this. In the output 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, everything is printed. We are not skipping anything. So there is also a for each loop which is used exclusively to loop through elements in an array, right? Now, talking about arrays, what are arrays? Arrays, we can say, is a type of data structure that can store multiple values. And the one important thing about array is that in array you can store only one data type. There are no option of storing multiple data types. Like if you are making an array of int, you can only store integers. It is in the form of a column in which multiple values are being stored, and the indexing starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. The indexing goes on. And multi-dimensional array is the one in which we not only have rows but we have columns, like in the form of matrix. In this, I have represented int x 3 comma 3. 3 means rows and the other 3 means columns. That is 3 rows and 3 columns, right? Now talking about string. What is string? String is, we can say, any the combination of characters is string, right? Apple, mango, and the syntax of string is like this. Firstly, we write down the keyword, that is the string, and after that we name the string, that is greetings, is equal to hello. So wherever if we want to print hello, so we just write system dot print greetings and it will show you hello, right? Now, talking about string buffer class, it is the one of the important topics of this unit. String buffer class. String buffer class is basically a class or a string that is mutable. We have talked about string earlier, and once we are defining a string earlier, so it cannot be mutated. That is, it cannot be changed afterwards. But in string buffer class, we can change the string afterwards. Let's suppose I'm gonna give you an example in the next slide. Okay. So string buffer class in Java represents a mutable sequence of characters, and there are many methods that we can use in string buffer class so that that class can be mutable. There is append two strings, insert to insert a particular string in the other string, replace one string from other, delete, reverse capacity, ensure capacity, and eighth one is the delete char at, right? So, talking about an example of a string buffer class, I have given this example and we have used append in this. What does append do is basically, let's suppose my name is Archita Jain and I have just stored my name Archita in one string and I am doing Jain as I'm appending Jain. So, what will, in the system.out.print, I'll do that string name. So what will happen is basically Archita Jain will be printed. Like in this one, I'm making str as the string buffer class, right? So and I'm passing data as the input, and after that I'm appending flair. So in the output, when I'm just giving the output of this, we get data flair as the appended string, and this is one of the property and one of the methods of the string buffer class. Now, talking about wrapper class is also an important topic of this unit as wrapper class is used to convert the primitive data types into the object. That is, primitive data types, we have talked about what are the primitive data types, the numeric and the non-numeric one. So these are the types of your these are the types of your data types like Boolean character, byte, and all of these. So these are being converted into your objects so that so what are the advantages of your wrapper classes? It allows the collections are allowed only the object data, and cloning is also very much helpful in your wrapper class, and serialization can also be allowed only to the object data. So it is kind of important that there is a property, or basically there is a method by which we can convert the normal or the primitive data type into the object one. First, there are two types of wrapper classes methods. First is the autoboxing. Autoboxing is the one in which we can convert the primitive data types to the object. As I've told you earlier, the main concept about wrapper class is primitive to object, right? Like int to integer, long to long, double to double. And the main thing about the wrapper class is that, or the object of the wrapper class is that the first letter is capital if you want to differentiate between them, like L is small, L is long. First is that. And if we look at the code of this, so in this, what is happening? I have initialized the character CH, and the value that I have put is A. After that character, like you can see over here, we are using wrapper class, right? We are autoboxing. That's why we have used the capital letter one. So this means this is the object wrapper class. And after that, we are initializing this array list and then adding 25 to it. And after we are traversing that array and printing the first variable or the first value of the array, we are getting 25. So this was the method of autoboxing. Second is the unboxing. Unboxing is the one just total opposite of autoboxing. In this, what happens is there is a conversion between the object and the primitive. That is, the object class is being converted into the primitive data types. So conversion of integer to int, long to long, double to double. So this is what unboxing is about. In this also the difference is that over here above we have taken character, that is your object, and I have given the same value A, and lower we have taken this, that is the primitive data type. So as you can see, we have converted the object into the primitive data type, and rest of the code is same. Then we have output, we have given the output of this. Now, talking about classes and objects. What basically is a class and objects? Class, we can say, is the blueprint of object. The blueprint of an object basically means that if we have defined a class that is vehicle, let's suppose we are taking a class vehicle, and in vehicle there are many properties and behaviors of a vehicle. So those properties and behaviors of a vehicle can be said as the data members and the member functions. But in Java, data members and member functions are not the keywords that we use. Instead of member function, we use the word methods and that blueprint of classes. Then we create the object of a particular class that shows those behaviors and properties. Let's suppose if I talk about this example, we have created a class GFG, and a public basically means access specifier, that is public private protected, right? And there are many the methods that this is the methods that we have used, and these are the variables that we have initialized in the class. After that, we have just this is the main program that we are starting. We are using the methods gfg.set and giving in the values, and gfg.get taking out the values, right? So in the output, we get this as the output, as we have given the values input as this only, right? Now, constructor. The main thing about constructors is basically a method that is initially already initialized in whenever we make a class. So the main thing about constructor, the syntax is just like this. We are initializing a class that is being named cat, right? And if we want to make a constructor basically helps you in like there are many types of constructor, like parameterized, default, and any there is copy constructor as well. So the constructor name and the class name, they have to be same. There is no other. If you have to identify in a program what is a constructor, then you have to just see that is there any method that has the same name as the class name, that will be a constructor. So there are three types of constructor. Default constructor is the one in which we give default values, like int n is equal to 10 or any other. I'm giving the as the default values. No argument constructor. This is an example of a no argument constructor in which in the parenthesis I'm not giving you any value. And parameterized constructor are the one in the bracket when I'm giving you arguments. Then it is an example of a parameterized constructor. Now, talking about abstract class. Abstract, as you have already learned in OOPS, that abstract term basically means when we are hiding something, right? When we are hiding the working of that particular program and just showing you the output. We don't really care about what's happening in the backend. What we care about, if we are given a particular method, what work it does, and not care about how it is doing the work, right? So class is also like the same. The main thing about abstract class is the one that when we are initializing an abstract class, we have to add abstract keyword before it. This is the main thing. Some of the rules of the abstract class is that the abstract class must be declared with the abstract keyword beforehand, and abstract class can have two, like it can have abstract and non-abstract methods, any can be allowed. So one more thing about abstract class is that abstract class cannot have any object. Earlier we talked about what objects are. In abstract class, the main thing is that it should start with the abstract keyword, and the second thing is that it cannot form any object. And final methods can be used. Constructor and starting method can also be done. In this example, we have made the abstract class, that is the Sunstar, and afterwards that Sunstar is being extended. I'll let you know what extends means in the next slide maybe. So extends is basically when we inherit, and inheritance I'm going to be covering, right? And I'm giving the values of name, age, salary, Avinash, like these are the salaries, and then I'm just giving the output of this, right? And over here I have made an object S of Sunstar because I have extended it, I have inherited. That is why only I can make the object of it. Like you're gonna get confused that right now I said कि abstract class का कोई भी object नहीं बन सकता, right? But in this case I am making the object. But if that abstract class is being inherited, then we can make the object. पर अगर वो abstract class inherited नहीं है, अगर सिर्फ ये नहीं होता and सिर्फ ये given होता, then we could not make the object of that abstract class. And in the output we are getting the values that we have input, right? Now come inheritance. I just gave you a brief about what inheritance is. Now, inheritance is basically when we are आलसी basically, जब हमें वापस अपना कोड लिखने का मन नहीं करता तो हम inheritance यूज करते हैं. तो इनहेरिटेंस का काम क्या होता है, हमने एक क्लास ऊपर कोई बना ली एंड नीचे वी हैव टू, मतलब हमने जो भी ऊपर लिखा है हमें नीचे भी वही चीज़ें चाहिए, थोड़ी बहुत मतलब वही चीज़ें चाहिए. सो व्हाट वी डू, द फर्स्ट इज द, जो ऊपर हमने सुपर क्लास बनाई है, सुपर क्लास को वी कैन इनहेरिट इन अ सब क्लास, एंड उसमें हम 2-3 प्रॉपर्टीज और ऐड कर देंगे. देन वी कैन यूज बोथ द सुपर क्लास एंड द सब क्लास, एक्सटेंडिंग द यूज ऑफ द एग्जिस्टिंग क्लास. एंड बेसिकली हमारा काम बचाता है, बहुत ज़्यादा काम बचाता है इनहेरिटेंस. In Java, the main difference in C++ and Java inheritance is that Java में हमारा extend keyword use होता है to inherit something. Like this is the small syntax of what inheritance is about in Java. In first we write class, derived class. यहाँ पे extends लिखा आता है. Like inherit in Java for inheritance हम extends keyword use करते हैं. The base class and methods and fields हम वैसे ही as it is initialize कर देते हैं. And in this series are representing your different types of inheritance. This is the single level inheritance, multiple. There are basically 5 types of inheritance: single, multiple, hybrid, multi-level, and hierarchical. These are the 5 types of inheritance. Now, talking about inner class is also a bit related to your inheritance. Like Java inner class, or it is kind of a nested class. Nested class is the one in which a class के अंदर एक और class के अंदर एक और class. These are the basic definition of a nested class. So nested classes of 2 types. First is the inner class, and second is the static nested class. Inner class is also of 3 types: inner classes, method local inner class, and the anonymous inner classes. Right? So if I just talk about the definition of an inner class, the Java inner class or nested class is a class that is declared inside the class or interface. So जिस भी class में तेरा एक और class, like if you're defining one class inside another class, then that inner class, that the class that is defined inside of the other class is the inner class. Like kind of basic knowledge कह सकते हैं इसे हम, कि किसी एक क्लास के अंदर दूसरी क्लास वो डिफाइन कर रहे हैं, तो दैट इज द जावा इनर क्लास, राइट? Then we use inner class to logically group the classes and the interfaces in one place so that we can use it effectively and efficiently. And इसमें तेरे private data members and methods, it can access anything because वो class के अंदर एक और class we are making. So obviously अगर आपका ऊपर वाली class private भी है तो वो access कर पाएगी. Now, exceptional handling. Exceptional handling is also an important topic. Exceptional handling का हमारा काम कब आता है कि हमारा जो प्रोग्राम है वो चलते चलते किसी भी ऐसी कोई सिचुएशन आए कि वो रुक जाए. ऐसी सिचुएशन कब आ सकती है? Let's suppose हम कोई डिविजन कर रहे हैं. In that division, what we are doing is लेट्स सपोज एक कंडीशन आ गई, कोई a डिवाइडेड बाई b कर रहे हैं हम, एंड हमें प्रोग्राम, ऑब्वियसली प्रोग्राम को तो नहीं पता है, प्रोग्राम b की कुछ भी वैल्यू ले सकता है, एंड अगर डिनोमिनेटर में 0 आ गया देन दैट इज एन एक्सेप्शन बिकॉज इट इज नॉट डिफाइंड, राइट? सो हमें पहले से प्रोग्राम को बताना पड़ेगा that your b, if b is equal to 0, then that will be an exception, you have to throw that exception, उसके अलावा पूरा प्रोग्राम रन कर दो. The main use and the main benefit of exceptional handling is that आपका जो कोड है वो कंपाइल टाइम में रुके ना, वो चलता रहे, मतलब कोई डिस्ट्रप्शंस ना आए नॉर्मल फ्लो ऑफ द प्रोग्राम में. तो मेन थिंग, लाइक द मेन सिंटैक्स इज ट्राई कैच थ्रो. ट्राई ब्लॉक इज द वन इन विच वी राइट द एक्सेप्शनल. जैसे अगर मैं ये a डिवाइडेड बाई b का एग्जाम्पल लिखूंगी, तो ट्राई ब्लॉक में आई एम गोना बी राइटिंग योर एक्सेप्शन कि a डिवाइडेड बाई b का कंडीशन है मेरा और b 0 हो गया. b 0 वाली कंडीशन को मैं थ्रो कर दूंगी, यहाँ से मैं थ्रो कर दूंगी, राइट? इन द कैच ब्लॉक आपकी एक्सेप्शन को कैच करेगा b इज इक्वल टू 0 वाली को, एंड वो आपको एक मतलब आउटपुट दे देगा कि ये हमारी एक्सेप्शन हमने मतलब कैच किया, आपके प्रोग्राम में ये एक्सेप्शन थी. तो बस वो आपको बता देगा, इट विल इन्फॉर्म यू कि ये एक्सेप्शन थी, एंड द नॉर्मल फ्लो ऑफ द program will continue as it is. Now, types of exceptions. There are basically two types of exceptions. First is the user-defined exception, and second is the built-in exception. So user-defined is the one, ये भी मतलब name बता रहे हैं, the one that we define. There, one that we define, right? And then built-in exception is also of two types. First is the checked, and second is the unchecked. चेक्ड में बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, अनचेक में भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. आई डोंट थिंक सो इतना ज़्यादा सिलेबस में आएगा, बट फॉर द नेम्स I have mentioned all the names that are being there, and in unchecked also I have mentioned the names. Like if you want to go through the PPT once, you can go through this. Now this can be a difference which can come, that is the difference between throw and throws. So like in the previous slide I've talked about, यहाँ से हमारी जो exception है वो throw होती है catch block में. यहाँ हम throws भी यूज कर सकते हैं, throw भी यूज कर सकते हैं. When can we use कौन सा वाला हम कब यूज कर सकते हैं, that I'm going to be discussing in this difference table, right? So throws is the one that which we use explicitly, and throws is the one in which we use implicitly. या फिर Java throws keyword is used to declare an exception, right? In the throw one, checked exception cannot be propagated using throw only. Like checked were the ones this, like the input output exception, instantiation exception, SQL exception. These are the ones that throw cannot मतलब अकेले handle नहीं कर सकता वो. And checked exceptions can be propagated with throws. हम throws के साथ checked exception के साथ we can use throws, but with the help of in the checked exception we cannot use throw, right? Throw is followed by an instance, and throws is followed by a class. The main thing about throw is that throw is used within a method. If you have written, there's a class, you have written a method, inside that method we can use throws, and throws तुम्हारा कहीं भी चल सकता है. It's not compulsory that you're using a method. You cannot throw multiple exception, and using throws we can throw multiple exception. Like in this case, the a divided by b वाला example मैंने बोला, there was only one exception of b being equal to 0. But there are some situations in when there are many exceptions. So in that situation, for the multiple exception case, we use throws keyword. Now, I talked about the user-defined and the non-user-defined one. So this is an example of a user-defined exceptions in this what we are doing is basically, firstly, we are making a class my custom exception, and we are extending it, or we are inheriting it from the class exception. And after that, what we are doing is we are initializing. This is basically the normal syntax of a Java program, and we are giving a try, catch, and throw. These are the three statements that we used in exception, right? So what we are trying is we are trying a exception, right? And if that exception is being found to be true, then we are throwing that exception. My custom exception is being thrown to the catch block as an argument over here, right? After that argument, we are printing that we just got an exception, and this, like because of this exception we were not able to run the code. And after that, after the catch block is over, we are just giving you the rest of the code is being printed. So we caught the exception, which what was the reason for that exception? It was a null type of exception, and the rest of the code is being run as it is. Now, the term tokenizer. Tokenizer is also kind of different term which you won't have any idea about. Tokenizer, as I talked about, token was the basic and the fundamental of any programming language, the smallest keyword, right? Not keyword, but smallest thing of a program. Tokenizer is basically used like, let's suppose talking about this diagram, we are given a this string like hello welcome to whatever this is. We are given this string and we are using string tokenizer. What this string tokenizer is doing, this will divide the string into many subparts, like divide like different tokens. Hello is a token, welcome is a token, to Java t point, all these are being divided. These are the tokens. Tokenizer basically divides your string in different tokens. And the main thing is that this is included in the class java.util.string tokenizer. This is the class that we use to define a tokenizer, right? And delimiters are the term you must be confused about. Delimiter is basically used, let's suppose in this example, what we are doing is as you can see, we are dividing the string on the basis whenever we are encountering a space. Like after hello, there is a space, after welcome, there is a space, after two, there is a space. So on that basis, we have divided this. But there could be a situation where when we don't want to divide it on the basis of spaces, but we want to divide it on the basis of like any symbol, like dollar symbol, or enter. Like these are the delimiters are the one that we give. हमें किस बेसिस पे उस स्ट्रिंग को डिवाइड करना है, कब डिवाइड करना है, अगर आपको कोई पर्टिकुलर सिंबल एनकाउंटर हुआ है, on that basis, that is the delimiter that is used जब हम किसी टोकनाइजर को इनिशियलाइज कर रहे होते हैं. Like this is the simple program for tokenizer. Import dot as I told you कि तुम्हारा पैकेज यूज होता है java.util.string tokenizer the पैकेज, तो जिसे हम टोकनाइजर को यूज करते हैं. तो ये बेसिक सिंटैक्स है तुम्हारा जावा का. इसके बाद string tokenizer is the keyword that we are using, and st is the string tokenizer, right? In which we are passing this as the argument, that is this is Java class. हम while कब तक करेंगे, st.has more tokens. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि जब तक इस जो स्ट्रिंग हमारे इनपुट है, इस स्ट्रिंग में जब तक टोकन्स है तब तक ये while लूप चलता रहेगा एंड वो वाला टोकन प्रिंट करता रहेगा. एट द एंड जब टोकन्स नहीं रहेंगे, इट विल एंड. Ether, we can also add a delimiter, that is like this is a basically what do we call it, basic string. But if the string is very long or it contains some special character and we want to define or we want to break that string according to those special characters, then we can do that as well. Over here delimiter is used, right? So this is Java class is being with the help of a tokenizer is being broken down. This is Java class in different lines, right? Now, applet. I earlier told you that applet is very much important, right? Applet को we can like HTML के बारे में सबको थोड़ा थोड़ा idea होगा. What HTML is all about, कि web pages के लिए काम आता है. तो applet का basically use क्या होता है? एपलेट में हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे कोई भी मतलब मुझसे वाइवा का टाइम चल रहा था, मेरे से कोई भी पूछ रहा था कि एपलेट की डिफाइन क्या है, तो मैं सबको एक ही डिफाइन बोल रही थी, दैट एपलेट इज अ जावा प्रोग्राम दैट रन्स ऑन अ वेब ब्राउजर. मतलब हमने सी प्लस प्लस में ऐसा कुछ नहीं देखा था कि हम सी प्लस प्लस का कोड अपने प्रोग्राम में लिख रहे हैं और वो आपका वेब ब्राउजर में रन कर रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं था. बट इन जावा विद द हेल्प ऑफ एन एपलेट वी कैन डू दैट. So the same define is there, that an applet is a Java program that runs in a web browser and primarily used in internet programming. So and the main thing about how you can run an applet is या तो you have an applet viewer या फिर जो आपका जो web browser है that should be Java enabled. उसमें Java के programs वगैरह run करने चाहिए. The also to run that applet, the class or the package that we use is the java.applet.applet class. Syntax is very much important. Java case sensitive है, we all know that. So पहले छोटा वाला a है, then it's a capital A. ऑल्सो क्लास आप डिफाइन कर रहे हो, उसमें आपको मेन मेथड हमें एप्लेट में नहीं लिखना पड़ता. टू डिफाइन एन एप्लेट वी डू नॉट नीड टू राइट द मेन मेथड. एंड एज यू कैन सी इन दिस डायग्राम, राइट, व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इज हमारा कौन सा है, हमारा ब्राउजर होस्ट है. हम अपने ब्राउजर में कुछ भी मतलब खोल रहे हैं. लेट्स सपोज हमने कोई सा भी वेब पेज खोला एंड हमने रिक्वेस्ट करी सर्वर होस्ट से, हमने रिक्वेस्ट करी कि मेरे को लाइक माई वेब पेज डॉट एच टी एम एल मुझे चाहिए. सर्वर गया, सर्वर को पता चला अच्छा इन्हें ये चाहिए, तो वो उधर जाएगा. माई वेब पेज डॉट एच टी एम एल का कुछ एप्लेट का कोड है कि आपके कोड में कुछ भी मतलब कुछ ग्राफिक्स है या कुछ भी है, तो वो इधर जाएगा. इसे ही माई वेब पेज डॉट एच टी एम एल हमें वापस दे देगा जो सर्वर है. उसने ये दिया, अब मुझे हेलो वर्ल्ड डॉट क्लास है, इसका अंदर का जो भी लिखा हुआ है मुझे वो चाहिए. सो आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग फॉर हेलो वर्ल्ड क्लास. एंड हेलो वर्ल्ड क्लास के अंदर लेट्स सपोज यहाँ कुछ भी लिखा हुआ है, कुछ भी ग्राफिक्स है, जो भी इसमें इम्पोर्टेड है वो सब हमारे पास वापस आ जाएगा. So this was a small working of your applet, like how it is used with between the browser host and a server host, right? Now, yeah, life cycle of an applet. What basically is a life cycle of an applet, और क्या क्या उसकी चीज़ें मतलब steps क्या होते हैं applet को. If you are using an applet in your web browser, what are the steps that are being done? सो एप्लेट का बेसिकली, अगर ये तो मैंने बता दिया कि एप्लेट इज यूज्ड कि आपका जावा प्रोग्राम आपका वेब ब्राउज़र पे रन कर जाए. एंड जावा प्रोग्राम वेब ब्राउज़र पे रन कर जाए, उसमें और चीज़ें भी आ जाती है कि आपको वो वाला जावा एप्लेट बेसिकली आपका ग्राफिक्स भी रन कर सकता है. आपका कोई भी आपको वीडियो चलानी है वो भी हो सकता है, कुछ मतलब यूआई अच्छा सा दिखाना है. और basically there are many uses of an applet. So learning the life cycle of an applet is very much important. First is the init. Start, stop, destroy. These are the four steps. Like init, start, the stop and destroy, right? So init, this method is intended for whatever initialization is needed for an applet. फर्स्टली हम क्या करते हैं, एप्लेट का हमने पूरा कोड लिखा, उसको इनिशलाइज कर दिया. मतलब एप्लेट आपकी जो क्लास है, मैंने आपको बताया जावा डॉट एप्लेट क्लास होती है, उसके अंदर हम अपना एप्लेट का प्रोग्राम लिखते हैं. राइट, एप्लेट का हमने प्रोग्राम लिखा है, इनिशियलाइज कर दिया. उसके बाद वी आर स्टार्टिंग इज this method is automatically class called after init method, right? Like we can see over here, it is also called whenever or wherever user returns to the page containing the applet after visiting other pages. हमने अभी देखा था सर्वर और ब्राउजर होस्ट वाला सीन. जब हम ब्राउजर पे थे, वी वर रिक्वेस्टिंग फॉर अ वेब पेज, राइट? एंड वेब पेज को हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे थे, तो सर्वर क्या कर रहा था, उस वेब पेज को ढूंढ के उसमें जो एप्लेट क्लास थी, लाइक इधर एप्लेट क्लास जो थी उसे वापस रिटर्न कर रहा था. तो लाइक दैट ओनली आपने इनिशियलाइज कर दिया. उसके बाद यू आर स्टार्टिंग इट, मतलब योर सर्वर विल रिटर्न वट एवर वॉज रिटन इन साइड द एप्लेट क्लास. एंड उसके बाद आप पेंट, मतलब पेंट इज बेसिकली यू आर मेकिंग सम चेंजेस इन दैट एप्लेट क्लास. यू वांट टू डू समथिंग लाइक कुछ भी चेंजेस है, यू आर मेकिंग इन द ग्राफिक्स और बैकग्राउंड कलर और एनी ऑफ दीज चेंजेस, you are doing it continuously. So this is like continuous sign, you can do it anytime you want, and जितना भी करना चाहो उतना कर सकते हो, right? And in running state what happens is now you're stopping it. Like, okay, my work is done, I have done everything. This method is automatically called whenever the user moves away from the page containing applets. This method can be used to stop an animation. Like if you're running an animation in your app with the help of an applet, then stop method will stop it, and that your applet will reach to an ideal state where it does not know क्या करूँ मैं, like मुझे मैं वापस start भी हो सकता हूँ, मैं destroy भी हो सकता हूँ. So this is, that is why this is known as the ideal state, right? And the last one is the destroy. This method is only called when the browser shuts down normally. Like आपने बहुत सब कुछ काम कर लिया, फिर आपने at the last क्रॉस बटन दबा दिया, पूरा ब्राउजर बंद हो गया. सो ये जो आइडल स्टेट में आपका एप्लेट था, ये डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा, एंड आफ्टर दैट इट विल रीच टू एन डेड स्टेट. सो this was all about applet and Java fundamentals, tokenizer, and everything. So if you have any doubt, you can just tell in the chat. And I also want to mention one thing, that there will be a Google form in the description, which you can attempt, and small and easy questions will be there of the all the topics that I've covered today. And if you just win, the top three winners will be given a shout out on our YouTube channel. So if there is anything you want to share or any doubt is there, you can please tell. I don't think there is. So just don't forget to attempt that quiz, which the link is being shared with you guys. So that was all for this session. Thank you very much for joining, and bye bye.